Welcome back, everybody. I'm Carolyn.
I'm Carson, and let's get tribal. Carolyn, we have a very special guest today. Are we going to reveal it yet? I mean, I guess if people are clicking on this link, they already know who we're having.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Ooh. Well, whatever. I was very, here's what I've learned is don't be nervous about who you reach out to. I was a little nervous because I'm like, this is Richard Hatch. And he's good. He's like he shaped Survivor. He did. He is the original. He is the beginning. He is, yeah.
So you texted me, you're like, dress up for this one. And so here I am. And you're probably like, Carolyn, you're not really dressed up. I'm kidding. Carolyn is dressed up. However, I want to put a side note into this that we are having to film this intro and outro separate from our talk with Richard. And you'll understand why when you listen to our chat with Richard. I am a student and I have no control over my Wi-Fi situation. And you would think paying for a nice little high rise, they would, give you good Wi-Fi. Nope. And so during our chat, I had the worst Wi-Fi session I've ever experienced and was barely able to make a sound.
It was bad. But anyway, we got through it. And I got to wear my dress.
I wanted to say, Carolyn, I was really impressed because I did get to listen, and I was like, you did a really good job taking the lead and and the reins of the podcast and asking Richard those deep questions. It was a very good chat, so I'm looking forward to everyone listening to it.
Thank you. I do know how to talk, Carson. It's
I don't doubt you.
But my problem, and this is the truth, interrupting, absolutely, but also, Carson, you very much keep me grounded, and you very much, when I'm like just going on and on and on and on, you stop and you're like, cut to the next section. Can I get that grease off? Cut to the next section, cut to the next. I don't have the ability to do that, and I don't think Richard does either. And so together, we are just two people talking forever, but...
Well, as a podcast host, you are supposed to be kind of the person who like ends it, starts it. You know what I mean? So he was being a polite guest.
Yeah, he was probably like, get me out of here. But I did find me a new best friend, and we have been texting all night ever since. I genuinely like him as a human. And I will always just have a special place in my heart for people who struggle and who have been through stuff. And he is just so open about it too. I like him. I really do.
Yeah. Well, let's really quickly just kind of discuss what happened in the episode, because I know we won't really talk about it too much in our session with Richard. And you're probably like, what? We're not going to recap the episode the whole time? We will. Me and Carolyn will. It's just that you'll find that Richard and Carolyn's chat is so deep, and there's so many like levels of different experiences that they talk about. Like, we didn't even have time for it, and I mean we went way over time. So
which he actually did watch the episode, and it stays up to date. He watches them live. So yes, yep. I really wish we would have, but we didn't have any with the Wi-Fi issue. Yeah. Anyways, it's great. Okay. So moving forward, let's talk about the episode. So I would say, Carson,
I'm listening.
Honestly, here's how I feel about it. I mean, Rome's gone, and so it's just like, oh, this sucks. That's how I feel.
I thought they did a really good job creating this cinematic exit for him.
It was funny. It was absolutely hilarious. Right? And I honestly, no offense, Rome, but you deserved it. Girl.
No, I was so excited. I was like, finally he gets humbled.
Him. But it's shut up. I would have been embarrassed. Because obviously, when you don't want to be too overly confident on TV about stuff, especially when you never know what people are saying about you or what is going on. So that level of confidence, girl, give me some of that, but you can't do that. It's almost so they ate it all up, just like they did with when they've done that to people before, but it's that's the content you gave them, but it's
crazy.
It was perfect, and he was so confident, and good for him though. Good for him. But I was like,
Well, I
ugh.
think Sam put it perfectly. He said, "They say Rome was built in a day, but your game was destroyed in one." Or something like that. I probably
Yeah, it was
misquoted too,
funny.
but it was a phenomenal quote. I was like that, because they don't oftentimes show the voting confessionals anymore. And I don't know if you noticed that, but I was like, whoa, we're seeing, because it was so obvious that Rome was going to be the one going home. I quite enjoyed it. Like it wasn't suspenseful because we all knew who was, the real target. But at the same time, I'm kind of glad that they didn't try to create this like second narrative of a different plan. Like we all wanted it to be Rome, and it kind of felt
What?
good
Wait,
to
wait, wait,
watch
wait. This is where I'm gonna
him
stop.
walk in. Nope, nope. Let me finish. Watch him walk into tribal council so overconfident, so thinking the plan's going to go right. And instead of the viewers being blindsided, it was Rome. And I loved it.
Don't speak for everyone though, because I
Okay.
didn't want it. Like, just saying. But yes,
You
it
didn't want
is.
Rome to go home? I did. I was so excited.
No, and so again, but it was made it perfect, and it was fun to watch because he was so ridiculous. That's what, like,
He
good. I even at
was.
that point, I'm like, I can't even support you anymore, man. What am I supposed to like? Be like, good job, like, shut up. I want to say, like, people were like, he needs to shut up, and he needs to. And I thought about you and stuff you did out there, and you would always like you, and I'm going to talk to this person and talk to, and I'm going to make a lie up. So how is Rome any different than you making up stuff, or good? Is he just
Here, I'll
less
tell
sophisticated?
you. The perfect example is Rome going and sitting in Jeff's seat and acting like he was the boss and pretending that Jeff was wrong. And do I disagree with what he was saying? Not necessarily. Do I think the amulets were like the best, the most well executed advantage on this season? No. It was very anticlimactic. But like it was almost the snarkiness of him sitting up there and being like, here's why it shouldn't work, because this person did this and this person did that, and because of this,
Yeah.
that, what, but shut up. I hated it. It was so cringy. And I'm glad that he had that sentimental moment for himself, but as a I don't know. It really rubbed me the wrong way. And maybe it's that I am not taking it right, or I'm not looking at it through his perspective. But it really rubbed me the wrong way in the sense of like, oh my gosh, you're that cocky that you're going to go and pretend that Jeff is a stupid idiot. No, I'm sorry. I don't have to agree with everything Jeff does, but I'm not going to go up there and, in my opinion, bash him the way that he did and smile about it. It's just not my personality. And maybe I'm taking it the wrong way, but it definitely rubbed me in a bad direction with respect to him.
You're jealous of him.
No, I'm not. Believe me, I'm not.
I just didn't know what to say because, like, it well, yeah.
Girl.
I like sometimes just we just got to be quiet. I don't have that ability to really do that, so I get it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't, but like, be
Well, one thing
quiet.
I wanted to bring up, just in reference to his, overconfidence, like clearly he was very confident in things going his way. And, we saw that throughout the season, whether it was him berating Saul in front of his face to think he can get away
Uh,
with it, to.
let's not. But and I wouldn't even say it was berating. I wouldn't.
Okay, maybe not. Maybe that was the wrong word choice. I'm not a great vocabulariist, as you can see, or tell. See, you know what I mean?
But yeah, I mean, he's playing the game. But I thought that I like, how is it any different? Is what I'm saying. Yes, he did that weird like, bleh, but like he's going around, he's giving information, he's twisting it, a bit. But again, how's that different from anyone else? And everyone, he can't keep his mouth shut. Like I don't get it. Like you did that, everyone does that. So why
Mm-mm.
is
No, it was, in my opinion, he was a showman. He was creating chaos when he didn't need to. He could have been sitting pretty and just like letting things fall the way they needed to at the before the merge, but instead he puts this massive target on Kyle, and in doing so he puts a massive target on himself because it backfires. And so in my opinion it's a little bit different because it's the timing, and he was so eager to be the showman and make this big move
yeah,
and be like a big Tony, that he wasn't playing the game and that, or playing it adequately. He was playing it poorly in
so much
hopes
better to
of being
watch?
entertaining. Well,
Way
it was
better to
funny.
watch. I'll take that
Well,
any day from sleeping at the merge. I don't care. I don't care. It isn't fun to watch. So let them crash and let them burn and bring more roams. It's way better to watch. Good.
Okay, here's a question I had for you, and I asked myself this because we've played the game, but you take yourself back to being out there on the island and you're doing a confessional with a producer, and you know
Yeah.
how it is. They really like get in your head, not in the sense of like they're trying to manipulate you, but they know what you're thinking and they feed into that. And so like I even was out there and I remember this being like, is this producer just asking me these questions to make me feel good and
No, I
feel
know. And I know
confident?
I felt that way too. Like, stop. Like, is this real or is this fake? Are you just
Right.
like feeding me this?
It,
And like, Carolyn, you're blah,
yeah.
blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, I'm what? So I don't know. It is. It's like, I think sometimes to like get a narrative like that. So I know there was plenty of things where I was like, no, that's not what it is. That's not how it happened. That's not how I feel. So I don't know. I challenged a lot of that though.
I got to a point where I remember I just became okay with being confident in what I perceived.
Because
And
they
maybe
boost your
that's
ego up. They
they do
do.
boost your ego. Like I'm sure they're behind the camera being like, Rome, you're doing so good. Like, how do you do it? And he's like, you know what? This is what I do. And you just like, and it really is like, it's like a manipulative therapist where they like
Yeah.
almost push you in the wrong direction because they feed into your delusions. It's craziness.
But also at
And
the same
so,
time, I don't think he would need that. He is somebody who
no, it's true.
naturally, he's someone, it's true, where he is someone who naturally is going to be that
That
annoying
type
like
of
that.
person. Yeah.
Sorry,
Well,
it's true.
I thought it was a very entertaining exit.
I loved
While
it.
I may have not um I may have not jived with Rome's personality, I am the first to say that he was very entertaining to watch, and I'm
Exactly.
very grateful to have people like him on a show because it adds so much of a different complexity that makes it fun to talk about. So
And there should
at
be
the end of the
more
day,
different types. Good. I don't care. I'm saying it. Like,
I
I like,
agree.
and I'm not saying that there's not those types of people, but it's like, I don't care.
And
Anyway.
and here's the thing too, we all know a Rome in our real lives, right? Like we all know someone who acts like that. And so I think this is a great example of like, I'm glad that we have people of all walks of life. Like I don't want every single person to be an Omer Zahir. But we're gonna take a break, and when we're back, we're gonna have Richard Hatch, and Carolyn is gonna take the charge in this one,
I
and y'all
love
are gonna love
Richard.
it. All right, we will be back.
And you are Richard Hatch. Yet we have these new era people, good, I will separate it, who feel like they like are going to ghost me. And I'm not like, this isn't an ego thing. This isn't, but it's like, know your role. You are Richard Hatch. And I'm sorry. It's shocking.
Yeah, too funny.
I literally was like, I
He's,
have to dress up. Carolyn and I were like, this is when we have to actually, be presentable. So here I am. I got my little
yes.
jacket.
Listen, you could both be naked. It'd be awesome.
I
Wait,
mean,
should
You're
I
dressing
just
up
take my
in your
shirt
theme.
off and that be like a
Do it.
better, like more, okay, here we are. Okay. Yes. All right. I think this is way more
and
fun.
I'm,
This is more in
here's the
tune with
deal.
Richard Hatch.
That's what I mean. You dressed up. I'm like, wait, did you not know who your guest was?
Okay.
My thing, and I didn't know you still did that. Oh my God, Carson, I can't right now.
Carolyn,
I'm not
we're
taking
literally
my shirt off.
talking to the naked guy on Survivor. I feel like this makes sense more than anything.
Do you guys know why that happened? People have
No.
asked me for 24 years. So I did it for the game. One, because all the camera guys were straight and they did not want to, follow my hairy ass around. So I had all of this free time to sneak up and listen to conversations. That was awesome. It was 110 degrees. So I'm the only guy who didn't get crotch rot, jacket. Literally, they were all walking around in pain. I was dry and fun. But on top of that, I think in broader terms a lot of the time, even before going on the show, and I really dislike the way we're so, I don't know, parochial, puritanical, what it is in America, compared with Europe, etc. We're humans, for crying out loud. Who cares? Is it pretty? Is it old? Is it ugly? Is it fat? Is it thin? We all have bodies, damn it. And life is too short to care about that kind of thing. So I truly thought I was going to affect America. The whole world, anybody who goes camping is naked. You get naked when you're camping, you just do. And everybody on the original Survivor was naked at some point.
So different
they
now.
made this thing out of the naked guy, and that's now my branding. And we've
Richard,
gone backwards.
do you think that you were the one that inspired Naked and Afraid? Because I do. Because your time on Survivor, I think you kind of established.
I deserve royalties.
I do too. That's what I think. I'm like,
royalties.
Yeah.
my parents love this show, and I'm like, y'all don't know the original season 1 of Survivor. That is the original Naked and Afraid.
No, I agree.
Well, it's clearly what broke the seal. It hadn't happened, and people were up in arms is one way to say it, but dumbfounded, didn't know what to do with it, and then loving to hate me all along, gay, atheist, naked. They didn't know what to hate worse, and then win. They just didn't know what to do with that. And so it literally took years. And frankly, still, participants often don't even get the point of the game. They still, like the way you strategized, Carolyn, you talked to the camera. People aren't doing it. Did you see her? Well, I don't want to spoil it, but walk off, ball, angry and then crying. I'm like, did you not know you were on Survivor?
Who are we talking about?
I can't. I don't want to spoil the people who are watching this season, but
Or wait, are we talking about like last week's episode?
Not last night, the week before. Yeah, she walked off and she was so pissed. She stood there. Who did it? Who's this? And she was angry. And then as soon as she passed Jeff, the tears started flowing, and she was just.
We can spoil the episode, Richard, because that one already aired, and I didn't even know you were watching it because
I've never missed an episode.
What? Carson was like, did you ask? He goes, it would be ideal if Richard's watching the season and we could recap some of the episodes.
Well, because that's what we talk about, Richard. I don't know if you're aware.
I don't care. I was like, I'm not asking
I am aware.
I'm not asking him that. I said, he doesn't want to recap the episode. I just want to talk to him. And he probably isn't. I didn't think you were watching it.
Look, Survivor is an extraordinary game. It's an opportunity for we humans to be more introspective than we are. And I don't even think the producers get it yet. That's what draws people. They look, hey, why did he do that? What's she doing? Would I do that?
Yeah.
We don't have the opportunity to get that introspective that often. And I think that's the connection. That's the draw. That's why Survivor's successful. And I think Jeff's made some serious errors in pulling away from that way too often. But the game is the game, and separating my relationship with those behind the scenes from the game, I've never missed an episode. It's an incredible game, incredible opportunities for the participants, and just as incredible for viewers to think, to hope, to want to be on there, to ask themselves who they are. I love it.
I had no idea. I thought I did because and I knew that you still watch like here and there, but I didn't know like you were like up to date on and I want to let you finish with what you were saying about you don't separate New Era and like because most people are like. And it is welcome to the family. And then really it's like, but you New Era people really aren't in the family.
Right. Because this is tribalism. There's your title. This is about tribalism. This is about marketing for Probst and CBS. This is, let's set this up. Let's talk about New Era. And that they can't do it. They're bullshit. The winner of Survivor is an adaptable, observant, aware, focused individual. Period. If I come onto the season now, I have to adapt to what's happening. Oh, wait, no, I'm old school. I can't play this. What the fuck is that? Excuse my language. That's just stupid. And people have bought into it. And, I get it. That's fine. You want to be part of a tribe and, you're part of the new school tribe. And, hey, they did it this way. And they had 39 days. And da-da-da. Let me tell you something. When people ask me, Carolyn, when people ask me,
Sorry, I have a facial disorder.
no, I love it.
Or not?
It's not a disorder.
Sorry, it froze. It froze. It froze.
It's
So,
called, well, I'll get into my
sorry.
deeper where reality matters. It's called What's True, and you just show us who you are. Except on Survivor, where you didn't a few times, and I loved it. You knew
Wait, what? Me?
Yeah, you really did strategize more than people realized, and I could see it happening, and whatever. Maybe they could too. Where was
No,
I?
they couldn't. They didn't. It's fine.
What did I want to say? There was something there.
She
really,
was
really
strategic,
wanted to
but
get
she's
across.
naturally strategic in my opinion. She's not an act. Like the way she played Survivor is how she plays her real life. And it's the same way that people underestimate her. She lets people underestimate her and she makes the most of it. Like what else are you going to do in that
Yeah.
situation? And so I think it's pretty cool. And it's cool to see that people like you, Richard, are able to notice that, because I even remember coming back from the show and I was afraid for Carolyn, thinking, oh my goodness, you're going to be edited like Nora from season 39, like just a goofball. Like you don't know what's going on. But I know you knew what was going on. We were working together. And I think Carolyn was even prepared before the show for an edit that would portray her in such a way that just made her look like the crazy cat lady. And it's really neat that I think that
Which you have to be.
Right.
You have to be prepared for that.
Yeah. Oh, I was.
You go on Survivor, and you have to go in fully understanding yourself and saying, "Hey, I don't care about that. That's not the game. You do the edit. You do what you do. I'm here to play, and I'm going to focus and play." And here's the key, I think, to your success. Well, from my perspective, what was successful about your approach and what Carson just described is the honesty of it. Most, I would say, an overwhelming percentage of survivors have no clue that honesty is the most powerful tool in Survivor, because it's all, a game, and you do have to lie and manipulate or influence, whatever. Just do it. Outwit, outlast, outplay. But the more honest you can be, the more real it actually is, the much more powerful it is. I was really, really honest with those folks. Yeah, and you're going next, babe. They didn't know what was coming, but that, it has to be different now. But
yes,
still, the more honesty, the more effective, I believe.
So I wanted to ask, I have so many questions, and I reached out to so many people. I'm like, what questions do you have? Because I was like, there's so many of them. First of all, I want to know who, and then I spilled coffee on it.
Look
I want
at
to know
you got your notebook.
Girl, I want to know who your favorite players are. Like I won't say, because now I didn't realize you don't like the division. So who are your
and you're
favorite?
going to hate my answer. I don't have favorites. So
What?
I swear to you, I don't. This is another thing people ask me: who are you rooting for? What? I'm watching to see who plays well. There are very few of them who are playing well and who focus and forget playing well, who even understand the game. We're in season 47, and this girl, I don't know her name. I actually don't. Is it Anya?
I think.
Annika.
Annika.
Yeah. I don't usually remember names until after the merge, and even then, sometimes it's tough. There are 700 and something of them, and I'm old.
I get it.
I have an excuse. But Annika, she was furious. Did you see her face just staring at the jury, like, yes. And then bawling as soon as she, turned her face away from them? What the hell? Did nobody tell you were playing Survivor? Did nobody tell you that you were trying to blindside somebody? Oops, it's you, babe. Ha ha ha! I mean, come on.
But Richard, because obviously, do you know me? Because I am the most emotional. I feel everything.
Yeah.
And when you're in that environment, I will say that when you're in that environment, I'm sorry, Carson, I trust you. It hurts. I can't ever separate it. Not ever. I have tried. I can't. And it's you end up caring for these people. And again, when you're blindsided, that's just it hurts. How do you separate it? Are you not normal? Are you the game? But you know what, Richard? I think that what part of makes it wonderful too is people that do show, like, because I'd be pissed as shit if I were vote, of course. So you're like, don't you know what you signed up for? Like for me, I would be bawling my eyes out.
And I
I
laugh
would.
at you. Here's employers like you. No, here's the deal. Yeah, I think maybe I am a little bit different, but what I'm trying to do is get people who are going on to understand that if you aren't in control of your emotions, and fine, you're human, and if you can't, fine, you're at a disadvantage because you're exposing information that need not necessarily be exposed unless you're controlling that. And so it's not easy and not everyone can do it, but I believe it's an important part of the game is to get that together before you head in. Now, here is something I want your input on. I mean, I have railed recently about the line I think Survivor may be crossing between casting an emotional, capable, self-aware human and someone with mental illness. And I'm really frightened that they're crossing the line and that these people will be harmed when they leave. And I think it's awful that they would push it in a game instead of really, really carefully thinking about how these people's lives will be affected. What do you think?
Here, what are you saying? Like, are you saying, and then like there's certain people where you feel like it's, they're pushing, they're just crossing the line between like, this isn't their personality, they're mentally ill, like that.
Correct. So I think that line is so important, and I believe that the professionals behind casting have a responsibility not to the game, but to that individual's health that I think is being outweighed by their employer, by the game. And I think, for example, this season, I don't want to talk about too many names, and I'll just use an example because I'm not going to diagnose somebody. I'm a counselor too, and my PhD in humanities, but obviously I'm not going to diagnose someone from afar. But the guy who lost it, Andy, right from the beginning in this season, showed how fragile his psyche is with respect to how he's perceived around others. That's dangerous. Do you want to exploit that for the game? Okay, maybe they did all of what I'm saying. More tests, more in depth. Maybe they did push him and find out that he does kind of break and then is still fine. I don't know. I don't want to say. But for me, it's so damn close to the line, maybe over it. And I'm worried, and I won't name others, but I think there are others in other seasons and this season too that may be too close to that line.
Was I on your list?
You were. Yeah. Yeah, I didn't know right from the beginning. I thought, are they exploiting her? Yeah, you're going to get honesty from me. I thought, wow.
Oh, I love this.
No, you were on my list for sure. I thought, this is dangerous. Is she going to be okay when she leaves? Is she holding it together? Is she, what has she been through already that's caused her emotions to be here this way? And can she then deal with that? And one thing I know is that their follow-up isn't what they,
Well, Richard, I will interrupt with this and say that maybe things are different from when, and I feel like, and I will say this, everything that I asked for, because I struggled after the season, and everything I asked for, I got. And I was very vocal about like, I need this. No, I need more therapy, or for me, being out there, I've been through a lot in my life. Carson literally just said last night, if people knew the amount of shit you have been through, oh my God. And it's like, I have just been through a lot, and I've worked on myself like so much. I've done so much therapy to be okay with me. So going out there, like I really did. I felt like I'm ready and blah, blah, blah. And it broke me down because it was like, but mostly it was like I had so much stuff going on in like my personal life that out there was so much stuff that mimicked my personal life and betrayal. So it was like, and I said this to Carson, I'm like, you like him blindsiding me with that for anything. It was like it brought me back to like times I was lied to, times that people manipulated me, times that so it brought up all of this stuff that well a I was still kind of going through, and b and I didn't expect that. I did not
Yeah.
expect for
Well,
all of these like emotions, but that doesn't make me mentally ill, Richard.
It
I have a
doesn't.
heart.
It doesn't
oh,
at
I don't think he
all.
was saying
No.
that, Carolyn. But
Yeah.
I will say, I think that I also think they cast people with life experiences in situations like that because, hey, the people with life experiences have something to draw upon. Like you were able to
I,
draw upon your experience of being lied to, manipulated, and then move forward. And yes, you had your emotional out, but I do think that you're right. Like there's so many complexities when it comes to trying to cast the right person because like Richard, you said, you don't want to cast someone who could be mentally ill who would not be ready for the experience that is being lied and deceived to on Survivor. And then you have people who aren't ready, like in my opinion, myself, for the reaction of watching the show thereafter and then dealing with that surge of attention, which I can't even imagine what it would have been like back in the early 2000s when you had hundreds of thousands to millions to tens of millions of
Yeah.
people watching these where you, I'm sure, were getting recognized every single second of every single day, every time you went to the grocery store. What was that like, Richard?
So it was.
Internet.
It was nothing anyone could ever prepare for. But Carolyn mentioned that things have changed now, and that she got the assistant. I did that show, A Gay Naked Atheist, and I went to prison for more than 5 years.
Yeah.
And the production and everybody behind it who was responsible for some of the confusion with respect to taxes, et cetera. I never did anything to avoid taxes, et cetera. Refused to even engage. They wouldn't talk. They wouldn't provide they didn't. It was the exact opposite of what you're saying. And so they've left me dry for 24 years. And so I'm still talking about it. This is an example of how the production could have ended this, could have helped someone who I think is relatively stable mentally, but whose life was literally devastated by nonsense, crap, just absolutely miscommunication, intentionally avoided by Mark Burnett and Jeff Probst. To hear that they've done what you needed makes me really, really happy. And Carson, for you to talk about the way everyone is impacted when they leave is just the crux of what I'm trying to get across. Even the most stable folks are going to endure something they can't predict, even though they're trying to prepare.
Oh yeah.
And so when someone who's more fragile leaves and doesn't have support, that's upsetting to me. So I'm glad to hear that you got the support you asked for. I still have concerns about who doesn't know how to ask for it, who doesn't know how to push.
And that's what, and I completely agree. And that's one of the things because they sent so like, just I try to like just help other people as much as I can. And I would always tell people like, because you're right, not everybody is able to like ask for help or has the voice to or feels like they can. And I am a loud person who has
Yeah.
no problem asking for what I need, but not everybody's like that. But
Right.
I asked for, I really did, and they really delivered. But also, even my casting person did so much to prepare me as far as like, Carolyn, if you're in this situation, you're not going to have your journal out there. You're
Right.
not going to have this. What are you going to do? And I was like, girl, I really tried to prepare myself, but nothing can prepare you. It's the same with traders. It's like, I could a million to be like, whoa, and this is, and it's nothing like you think it is. So it's like, and I'm sure with you, you can separate stuff a bit more.
Yeah.
I am a little different, and I like even for myself going on that, I was like, I have to prepare myself that these are performers. These are people who are used to like performing for the camera, and that is not me. So just be okay with it and just ease into it. But you never know. So
I
you
would have
being
gone
on,
further with you. I would have gone even further. They're not just performers. I would have gone with you into the context of even if they hate you, even if they're not performing and they dislike you and they're mad at you because you're not reliable, they think because you're emotional, or they this, and I would have pushed that and I would have talked you through who gives a fuck. Who cares what they think of you? You know,
Yeah.
you
Oh,
get to
yes.
that place and you've got to live in that before you get there, or you're.
Oh, trust me, I had to do a lot. What did you learn in prison?
Oh, all kinds of things. But what I learned about Mark Burnett and about Jeff Probst is reprehensible. Why
Oh,
didn't they
sorry.
correct it? Phone calls, anything could have corrected it with the courts. Just admissions that no, they didn't pay Malaysia, but maybe they should have. Richard's question wasn't about, hey, I don't owe anything. It was about who do I owe what? Who's been paid what? And what difference? What is the difference that I owe where? I'm not going to pay the full amount to the US who isn't entitled to it and then still owe Malaysia. So explain to me who's been paid what, and then I'll pay the difference. And we were engaged in this professional, responsible thing that I've done my entire life. I've never evaded a cent of tax anywhere. And then I ended up in prison because people's egos and lies and I don't know what's behind Mark Burnett's trying not to make it clear, or, you know, self-protective, or, you know, penny pinching. I don't know what it was, but it's infuriating, to answer your question.
Gosh.
Infuriating. And life
I just
life destroying. I was divorced after 14 years. You know,
Well,
14
it's just
years
a long time.
married.
That's a lot of, what did you, when you were in prison, were you just pissed the whole time? What did you, and I'm serious, like, what did you learn about yourself? Did you spend the whole time, like, was there anything positive that came? And that sucks. I don't even want, what was one good thing? And this internet, do you want me to connect on mine, Carson? You are slipping. We have Richard Hatch here, and you are literally fucking, okay. And I don't want to be one of those people. What's one positive that you learned in prison? That's messed up itself. But is there something, like, what was your takeaway after it?
Well, I learned a lot, but none of it that I wanted to learn, but I'm glad that I did. For example, our system is so incredibly, utterly broken. And I'd never cared enough to learn that, and to involve myself with, say, the Innocence Project and others who are
Yep.
doing, you know, incredible work. But they're just the tip of the iceberg. They're dealing with, like, people who are on death row, and when lives are destroyed for, you know, sentences of, you know, years in prison when they shouldn't be, and the prejudices behind it. There's my closest friend in prison was caught with a joint in Washington, D.C. when he was 16. So it was on his record. He had a joint, a marijuana cigarette. And then when he was 18, he got caught with 2 pounds, driving 2 pounds of marijuana from Washington to Oregon. And guess what he was sentenced to?
I don't even want to know.
Imagine, guess, approximate, like, what would be bad?
Even if 5 years would be
5 years.
25 years. He was sentenced to 25
Oh my
years in prison
gosh.
for driving 2 pounds of marijuana as an 18-year-old from Washington, D.C. to Oregon. And I met him, and while he was in prison, one of his sons went to prison. His mother died. They wouldn't let him go to her funeral. Guess why he was sentenced to 25 years?
Why?
Because he was black. That's the only reason. There isn't a white person on this planet who would have received 25 years for 2 pounds of marijuana after one thing on the record at 16. It's a system beyond what people can understand. We think we're getting past that. We're not. It's so broken. The people in powerful positions are human, and power corrupts, period. I don't know what the answer is, but I'll never be quiet about it. So that's my takeaway:
Good.
is how broken the system is. What did I do? I read hundreds and hundreds of books. I logged the name of them, what I thought of them, the summaries. I loved reading everything I could get my hands on, and friends would send me books so that I could do that.
That just is, I couldn't believe it when I was reading, like, because obviously I always knew, like, Richard went to prison, but I didn't realize it was that long. And then didn't you go back again?
Yeah. And then I go back again because I was on probation, and the original judge who, get this, when the jurors were being selected, several of them in writing wrote queer, homo, faggot, in their thing. And so we said to the judge, hey, we need to ask these jurors, we need to query them about their thoughts, their feelings toward homosexuals. He refused. This is a judge who I'd already had sanctioned for something he did in a case before this. He held off his retirement to sit on my case, then refused to let. It was so bad from the beginning. I was just screwed. And the system is supposed to correct itself. Judges are supposed to oversee that judge and not let him do that.
Yeah.
And it just hasn't happened that way. It's awful. And every single fact that I stated from day one, over time, it's been clear. It's come out. It's true. I never lied. He sentenced me to extra time claiming I perjured myself when I was acquitted of 8 of the 10 counts by the jury. So the jury didn't believe that I perjured myself. They acquitted me of the majority of the counts.
How does that even happen?
It's our system. That's what people don't realize. It's so broken that anyone in power who's just not ethical, who's a homophobe, who's a bigot,
Yep.
If they're a judge and that's underlying, they don't even know it about themselves. They just hate me because I'm gay or I was naked or I was an atheist.
I was going to say that. I wonder how much of that too, like people knowing who you are and you're the guy.
All
Oh,
of it. That's what it was. I went on Rosie O'Donnell's show. We all did. And she gave everyone a car and she gave me a box of rice because she hated me. She didn't understand the game. She loved the game, but she didn't get it and thought I was mean. She didn't understand outwit, outlast, outplay.
Because obviously I'm watching you on House of Villains, and here's what my first take after watching, and I said to Carson, I'm like, this show is crazy. And I was like,
Insane.
how is he... I would go crazy on that show. I would literally be like, shut up, shut up, shut up. And not only that, but it's like there's these people who are so, and people can say all they want that I'm performative or I'm just like this. So I watched them and I'm like, he has got to be losing his mind right now, because it's like, how the hell did you handle that?
Never in my entire life have I seen women treat one another the way they did. I've never heard things like that. I didn't know what to do with them. It was unbelievable. But none of them, or almost none of, very few, were playing. They didn't understand the game. It was about friends and anger and tears and emotion. They literally were up in arms and drinking at night. So they were looped. They didn't, hung over in the morning. So I have the house to myself. I'm naked and the jacuzzi and the pool and the whole mansion to myself in the mornings, hours and hours. The crew filming. I'm like, I think you got enough footage of this. They would sit and hang out with me because what else are we going to film? We've been filming you for days. It was nuts. It was really, really, but what you're saying is true. I really started to get to a point with, what do I do with this unreliability? This isn't just them being performative and underneath they're ready to play. This is Looney Tunes. This is wow. I struggled.
I agree. And it's the same thing with like when you watch The Traitors, where there's just people there. And that's like the greatness of those shows, because it's this random mix of people. It's so random. But like, and of course you're the gamer and you go in there and you want to play the game with people who have no clue. So it's like, how the hell do you adjust to that? How? And so then you have people like Wes, for example, who clearly is like, you have your eye on him. You're like, he is playing you can tell like he's playing the game. So
I've never seen his show, The Challenge. I've never seen it. I didn't know him. I didn't know New York. I didn't know any of these people except Teresa going in. But instantly I knew Wes is a threat. I need to work with Jesse. I'd never seen his big brother. I need to prepare for Traitors. That show is made for me.
Yeah, tell me your take on that. So, like, well, first of all, you want to do that after, like, doing House of Villains? You didn't lose your mind in there? Or you weren't like, oh my God, leave me alone? Was there anyone, like, even after the show? Because I really do feel like a lot of the people who do these shows, it's kind of like, I'm here. It's not like people are there to, like, whoa, 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 which I get it. Is there anyone where you would be like calling on a Friday, like, hey?
I would if they lived nearby. I love Camila, but she really, really screwed up, I think, in the show. And was learning. What she did, I think she thought of as a bold move, but it was at her expense. She put
Yep.
several people that she'd been kind of trying to work with, and so she just blew it. Made herself a target that way, and that was just the way most of them were playing. They weren't really playing at a high level. Even Wes, who plays well in the challenge, as I observed, wasn't playing as well in this game. He was playing and he was a player, and I knew he was a threat, but I watched many, many things that could have been done better, way, 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 way better. And his approach was at his own expense many times.
It really is like an unhinged version of, I don't even want to compare it to the Traders. I don't. No offense, because the Traders is so freaking amazing when it comes to the set, when it comes to the producers. And I'm not saying that they don't like do a good job with things. I'm sure that House of Villains, but it's just more like crazy,
It's
which
what
is
they
a
want.
it's a good thing too. But Traders is a different level. So is that a show that is a show you want to do? Have they
It was
reached
made
out to
for
you?
me. Why wasn't I on season 1?
Why
They're
weren't
just
you?
behind the 8 ball, but of course I'm going to go. They're going to call, and I'm going to go, damn it.
Have you heard so you haven't heard anything yet? Like
No,
Sandra,
I'm
for
not saying.
example, she had just said,
I'm not saying. I'm not saying.
oh yeah, I get it.
Oh.
Were you surprised to see me? Because obviously they announced the cast. Were you surprised that I was with Boston Rob, Tony, and Jeremy? Was that a shock to you?
It wasn't a shock.
Really?
No, I know they play. I know they want survivors to play, and you are great TV. And I'd already come to understand that you knew enough about what you were doing that you would make a decision whether or not it was harmful to you and go or not. I'd already decided that by the end of your
Wait,
first
say that
season.
again. What?
I'd already decided that you were self-aware, sufficiently self-aware to not be harmed by this stuff. I have reached out to others and have engaged with others after they were on the show, and some have reached out to me before the show in preparation. Even some who are on this season, I can't even say I love them, but I really worked with them ahead of time. But
You didn't work with me.
no, because I didn't know you ahead of time, and I
did.
would have reached out if I thought you were in danger going into something else. I didn't get that sense. By the end of the season, your calculatedness earned my respect. I was like, oh fuck, she's not just floundering around. And it was long before the end of the season, and I was thrilled with that.
So I'm shocked. I thought, because my own self, and not that I don't have any self-esteem, it wasn't that. I think I'm great. But I didn't expect to get the call for the Traders. I didn't. But especially, but I think that's what makes it great too. It's a weird mix. Me, Boston, Rob, Jeremy, and Tony. It's like, of course, I see them. It's like, so I really had to obviously prepare myself and say, like, you know what? You deserve to be there too, Carolyn. But it's a weird place. It's a weird mix.
Yeah.
So
think about this. Deserved to be there. Rob played 6 fucking times before he won. I mean, come on.
being that it was all old school people before, old school players, I didn't expect to get that call. And Carson would always say, like, you'd be great. I didn't expect it. So, like, again, me with Boston, it's weird. It's a weird, like, hi.
Yeah, I would have loved to play against Tony because I respect his gameplay. I thought he was horrible in the first time. I thought he was like pure. He got more lucky than almost any Survivor player I've ever seen, just with luck, this, that, and the other. But he so corrected his approach the next time he was on Survivor. I was awed. I loved the way he played, and I thought, oh, he learned not to be so haphazard and so uncontrolled, and I loved seeing that. So I would love to have been on there just to kick his ass. I have to win. I mean, the Traders is just so my game. I mean, it's just so me.
It sounds like you might be on season 4.
I don't know. Wouldn't that be fun?
Yes, especially after you just did that. Like, I really do feel like, why the hell aren't you on that show? It's
Yeah,
true.
I would really enjoy it. Well, I'm not on a lot of shows because they, I don't even call it blackballed or whatever else. They've pulled me back. Probst and Burnett don't like that I talk about 24 years of this. Instead of coming and dealing with it and addressing it and putting it to bed and literally correcting what happened in my life, they could do. They just don't allow this, don't allow that. Dropped me from Winners at War 2 days
I was
before
gonna
we
say,
were
how
going to
did
shoot.
that, like, even not being a part of that, like, that I'm sure felt, and even there, I mean, there's a few winners where it was like, why weren't they on there? But like you especially, yeah, it's like,
So I got the call, and they said the casting guy said, not the casting guy, Jesse said the producer, the execs aren't involved. This is everybody else gets to decide who's coming, and you are the only person that 100% of them listed. Every single person listed, you're on. So he literally said, there's no way you're not on. I need you to drop out of your last course of your PhD program in order to attend. I'd already paid. The last class in my PhD program, I dropped out to attend Winners at War. And 2 days before we flew out, they dropped me and Tina.
I've never
Wow.
heard that story. I'm gonna be your friend now, just so you know. And I can't speak for Carson, but I do get a little clingy. I do. You know who my new best friend is right now?
Me.
Well, it's gonna be, but we're not there quite yet. But I can tell that I like you, and you may not like me yet, and it takes time. But there's certain people that I feel like understand me, and a lot of people don't. But I do. There's certain people that just get me right away. Troy
Yeah.
Zan's one of them. Yes, he is,
Ah,
and where he, nothing shocks him.
yeah.
Nothing. I can say whatever I want.
He's a good guy. Yeah, he's a good
He
guy. He's a
gets
good
it,
man.
and just he's not looking at me like I'm creeping him out, or so. I can tell with you though, you're very open, and you're very like, I could be
There are
your
a lot
best
of
friend.
really good people on the show. I could never list them all. Bob Crowley, I don't know if you've ever talked to him. He's one of the winners. He's just a really, really wonderful guy. He and his wife, Peggy, live in Maine, and they're close to me. It's, yeah, there are lots of good folk on the show. And so you meet all kinds
Yeah.
in all venues, but there's a huge pool of survivors from whom to choose, and it sounds like you're coming across some goodies.
And I choose you. So me and Carson and you are going to be best friends now. So I do get a little clingy. So just be prepared for it. But no, I appreciate this so much. So thank you. I appreciate it. Like
Thank you
this,
for asking. Thank you
you
for
are
inviting
the
me.
legend. Like you are. You know what I mean, girl?
Thank you for your time, and thanks for the conversation, and I hope we continue.
You know, I will be.
We
I
will.
won't. I won't scare you right away, but I will eventually.
I don't scare very easily, in case you
Oh,
haven't figured
perfect.
that out.
Yeah,
A shark literally bit him, Carolyn. He wasn't scared.
I know. It's like,
Still there. They're teeth marks.
Oh my gosh, that's
thank you so
crazy.
much. We appreciate it. Sorry about
Enjoy your
Carson.
day. Thank you. Thank you very
Thank
much.
you.
Huge
Bye,
hugs.
Richard.
Oh!
Bye, both of you.
Welcome back, everybody. I am back and alive. And Carolyn, great chat with Richard. I just wanted to first say, like, Richard talks in a way, and it's quite amazing. The way his pauses, he sounds like one of those like BBC reporters that does
He's
everything like a
good.
one take wonder. Doesn't pause in a weird spot. Like he's one of those people I could listen to all day. Like very fascinating person. So you'd have a
He
very
is.
fun
He's a
chat
new
with him.
friend. A new friend of
I
mine.
know. Can I be?
I'm gonna.
I feel like we need to have him again so that I can establish my friendship with him when my Wi-Fi
Oh,
works.
it's. I've already established it, and again, there's people. There's not a lot of that you say I talk to everyone, but I really don't. And there are certain people that I really want in my life, and I want Richard in my life.
Okay, Carolyn,
Yeah.
it's been a good long episode, so we're gonna make this quick. What has been giving you life this week?
Oh God, nothing. Absolutely nothing. So no, I can't be negative. That was a joke. Don't put that in there because like I don't want to be. Yeah, sorry. Okay.
No, it's gonna be in there, so you better change what you want to
It
say.
was no, I'm kidding. I got pissed because I'm like, Jerry, seriously? Okay, what's giving me life? You know what, Carson? I'm not sure if you're into decorations for the holidays or not, but what's really been giving me life lately is this the decorations and being able to celebrate Halloween. If I put a little like, let's say I put a little like strip of lights out, or let's say I take a knife and I carve that pumpkin and I put a little
Oh,
light inside, it's like, wow, this is really making me happy right now.
I love it, Carolyn. I'm a big decor person too. If you can't see all my puzzles behind me,
And you
and
also were what, Carson? Put a little
oh yeah, yeah. I talked about this in my Survivor application. Not my application during one of my interviews with the executive producers. So Matt Van Wagenen looked behind me in one of my interviews, and I was in my college dorm, right? But like, I'm not no regular college student. Like,
God,
I
you're right.
am. I am a interior decorator. Now, don't judge the background I have right now, please. It's not like I can't control it, but because I move every like 3 months, whatever. But
But no, but say what you like when you
yes, okay.
told me
So
about this.
there,
I was like, "Oh, shut up, Carson."
if you ever heard of the app Design Home, it has over 30 million downloads and millions of users. Well, it basically is where you can design a room and you then go and publish it, and then everyone rates your rooms. And so there is a leaderboard of all the people with the best rankings. And I was ranked, and I talked about this in my Survivor interview because it's so weird, right? Like, it's such a nerdy and just specific thing to have achieved. But I was like ranked 43rd in the world between all of the interior decorators on this app. Like, I was a well-known interior decorator, and it was
Yeah,
like,
but it's an app, so I don't get it. I was
no,
like,
Carolyn,
Carson,
it's like
why are you
legit.
telling me this?
Y'all
Like,
look this up. It's
ooh.
like legit. It's like
So
a.
I
I
don't
mean,
get it.
I
Like, that makes you an interior decorator because,
yeah.
like,
If you know anybody that's been to my apartment or been to a place that I have personally put my touch on, they will
oh,
tell you Carson has it in him. He is an
you
interior decorator,
literally.
or
I'm
at
not
least
trying
I
to be
want to
rude
be.
right now. We literally just talked about Rome, and you are roaming right now.
Oh
Anyone
my
who comes
gosh.
to my, you're Rome. Yeah, you are. I
Maybe I
don't.
am.
You are 100%. Like you there.
Am I
There's no.
Rome? Am I Rome 2.0 with my interior decorating?
It's true. Like people say this and but you're no, like which is good. Let's toot our own
I'm proud
horns.
of myself, Carolyn. That in
So
my
is Rome.
video game. Yeah, you're right.
So is
All right,
Rome.
I'm Rome. Well, I'll talk about really quickly what's puzzling me. And I actually need y'all's help. I have been asked so many times on the street, "Hey, Carson," or they don't know my name. "Hey, good luck on Dancing with the Stars." I like I get compared to Steven Nedorozic so much on Dancing with the Stars, and now all my friends want me to be on Dancing with the Stars, and I would be a terrible dancer. But I just kind of, I actually more than anything, what's puzzling me is I want to figure out how to meet Steven because I have never. I got compared to Tom Holland a lot. I got compared to. Like a lot of, or I don't know, like people with glasses, you know what I mean? But like, I've never been compared to someone so much. So like, and I'm honored.
Really?
I'm
I
compared
don't
to a
even see it
gymnast.
that much. I
I
honestly
do.
don't. I don't.
Well, I did listen to an interview with him, and I was actually a little bit shocked. We do have very similar mannerisms, so I feel like we're kindred spirits, and I would love to meet Steven at some point in life. So maybe we should ask Sandra because she's friends with Phaedra.
No, we don't even need to. What? Just send him a message.
I should. Why am I
Why
scared?
not?
Why
What are
not?
we gonna live scared? I don't do that, and I get like I message anybody, and I don't hold back, and there's a lot of times like And that's fine. And then you get, and then you know, find some good people too.
It's true. Well, we appreciate all of y'all listening this week. And if you're going to stay with us, we have an extended conversation with Richard in our Tika Tiki Talkie segment on our Patreon, which you can find in our links below on YouTube, or if you look us up on Patreon. So if this is the end with us, have a great week, and we'll see you next week. Bye.
Bye.